It is preview season here on Armchair Analysis, and today we are talking all about the Texas Longhorns, last year's SEC champions in year one in the conference. And this team looks to repeat. They're currently the favorites to win a national championship, at least according to most betting odds on most sites you look at. So this is a team that I think has, we all think, everybody thinks, has the potential to get the job done, led by Arch Manning, led by Steve Sarkisian once again. Can they get the job done? They were CFP semifinalists last year, looking to get over that hump and make their way one step further to a national championship appearance and even a national championship victory in 2025. First off, if you're new, welcome in here to Armchair Analysis. This is August 6, 2025. The Texas Longhorns again today. If you're new around here, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. We're trying to hit 200 subscribers by the time week 0 hits, which is August 23rd. I think we can get that job done. I'd appreciate greatly if you guys could do that and make sure you stick around because we got plenty more content. We are almost finished with preview season. We have 5 more teams to do, including this video today. We got Clemson coming later tonight, and then we have Oregon, Notre Dame, and Ohio State to close it out on August 9th. That'll be our final video that goes out. I just thank y'all. This has been a fun time. We've done 68 teams in 69 days. And it's been a really good time. A lot of learning been done, and we look forward to carrying on and moving into more previews. It'll be the MAC preview and the full conference preview on August 11th. That'll be the next video up. So at least after we finish up these. So make sure you stick around. We got plenty more content year round. And with all that said, let's go ahead and target Texas here in 2025. But first, we talk about 2024. This is a team that last year went 13-3, 7-1 in SEC play. They were SEC champions. Again, CFP semifinalists, losing to Ohio State, who would ultimately go on to win a national championship. This is a team that averaged 33 points per game last year, which was 29th in college football. They gave up 15.3 points per game, which was 3rd in the sport. Turnover margin per game was plus 0.3. That's 45th in college football. And then they also had a number 1 recruiting class and a 23rd ranked portal class, which brought in 11 commitments. This Texas team is loading up, and they're continuing to do a lot of really good stuff, even further into this offseason or non-playing season, recruiting season, whatever you want to call it. They've continued to build, bringing in the number 1 linebacker in the country through recruiting earlier, just a few weeks ago. He committed on the Pat McAfee show. So they're doing a lot of really good stuff at Texas and really building a very bright future for the program. This team, of course, led by Steve Sarkisian, the offense led by Kyle Flood, and defensively it's Pete Kwiatkowski leading the charge. This team returns 3 offensive starters, Quintravion Wisner, DeAndre Moore, and an offensive line starter. This is a team that certainly has a lot of experience to replace, but I think that we look at this and, for example, Quintravion Wisner stepped up to be the starting running back towards the end of last year and ended up being fantastic. This is a guy that I'm really excited to watch him over the course of a full season as the lead back. CJ Baxter will come back as well. Excited to see him fully healthy again on the field. But this offense is going to be led by the man himself, Arch Manning. And there's so much hype around what he can be and what he should be. And I buy it. I 100% buy it. But I'm not one of those people who will put blind faith into something that I have not seen. So there are certainly question marks that I have about what he can be, what he's going to look like, and how he's going to progress throughout the course of this season and his career. This is not necessarily the toughest schedule in the world, but they do have some difficult games sprinkled throughout. And it starts in week 1 when they play Ohio State in Columbus. Game day is going to be there. It's going to be a big deal to see how his career starts out, because we're talking about 2 brand new quarterbacks. We got an Ohio State preview later on. I'm not going to spoil too much of my thoughts on that other than the prediction. But it certainly leaves question marks at this quarterback position because we just haven't seen him. We saw him for 2 games, UTSA, if I'm not mistaken, and then Mississippi State. That one I know for sure. We saw him in 2 games last year as a full-time starter, and both games had vastly different looks from him, and he had really good moments in both, but he had some bad moments, some young moments in both. We'll just have to see how that goes along throughout the season. At wide receiver, the biggest thing we're looking at right now is Ryan Wingo, but I'm excited to see Jamie French. I think he's going to get some significant playing time this year. as a wide receiver. He may not be a starter or a wide receiver 1, 2, or 3, but he is certainly going to be on the field a good amount this year. You also have DeAndre Moore, returning starter, as I mentioned earlier, and then Emmett Mosley comes over from Stanford to fill into this room as well. The wide receiver room I'm not worried about, especially if Arch Manning ends up being solid. I think this team is going to really be fantastic offensively. I don't see too many reasons to complain or worry. Tight end, it's Jack Andrews, and I think he's one of the best tight ends in college football. That, without question, is going to be a really good weapon for Arch Manning to find in the short passing game or even in the deep game. Jack Andrews does have that in his game. This team last year had pass blocking grade from PFF of 90.7. That's the best in college football, but it was also the best in the Power 4. Their run blocking grade was 69.9. That was 17th in the Power 4. Looking at the defense, this team returned 6 starters. That's a bigger deal here, and they got 4.2 yards per play allowed. That was second in college football. This team had one transfer come in that's going to be a significant starter playing time type of guy, and that's Cole Brevard coming over from Purdue. He's going to be the nose tackle. They're really excited for what he could be in the middle of that defensive line. Returning leaders from last year include Anthony Hill Jr., who leads this team in tackles for loss, and forced fumbles. He had 113 tackles last year, 17 of them for loss, and 4 forced fumbles. Anthony Hill is going to be a really big deal in that linebacker room, continuing to build what has become one of the best linebacking units in the country. And, of course, that's in large part thanks to Pete Kwiatkowski. You look at the sack leader coming back as Colin Simmons. He had 9 last year, but this team was just dominating in the backfield. And I think that's going to continue this year. The front 7 looks really good. Colin Simmons is back. This team is going to continue to make those plays in the backfield. The interceptions leader is Michael Taft. Had 2 last year. He's one of the best safeties in college football. He's returning and going to be a really, really key player for them as well in the secondary. Probably the leader of the secondary, if I were to guess, based on things I've heard and seen throughout the course of the offseason and listening to various sources. This team had 40 turnover opportunities created last year. Remember, turnover opportunities are forced fumbles and interceptions. Not fumble recoveries and interceptions, otherwise I just say turnovers. The reason I utilize that is because it shows like opportunism, the ability to create opportunities to, again, take the ball away as a defense. 22 interceptions, 18 forced fumbles. I don't expect that to change. That's kind of been the moniker of this defense over the last handful of years. Names to watch for me is one of them is Ryan Wingo. He had 29 catches last year for 472 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's expected to certainly be a wide receiver 1 caliber player this year, and I think that certainly is well in the cards. I'm also looking at Jamie French, like I mentioned earlier. I think he's going to be a really fun player to watch while he grows and matures, and might even have a similar year to Wingo did last year, maybe even better. Just depends on playing time and opportunities given to the young wide receivers. Looking at this schedule, it's not necessarily the toughest, but they do have some tough road games, including Ohio State, Florida, Georgia. They have, of course, the rivalry, the Red River Showdown against Oklahoma in the middle point of the year. Certainly opportunities for losses and for things to go a little differently with how a lot of teams have improved. But it's not necessarily as brutal of a schedule as you may think, and we'll kind of explain why and where I'm thinking on that as we go along through it. Go ahead and take a look at the schedule here, and it really kicks off with a bang. You get that road trip again to Columbus facing Ohio State. You get a couple light games, San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston, some chances to really get Arch Manning kind of comfortable in this offense, depending upon how that game in Columbus goes. And then you get road trips, and this is going to be 4 straight games away from Austin. You got Florida, you got Oklahoma, Kentucky, and Mississippi State. Now, the back half of that 4-game stretch is not necessarily the toughest, but you're going to be coming out of 2 dogfights, I think, that are really going to be knockdown, drag-out games. That Kentucky game could pose a bit of a threat, dependent just simply for schedule dynamics. I don't think Mississippi State has that opportunity, but Kentucky might. And then you get that road trip at Georgia, middle of November, and then, of course, you close the year out with A&M, who is going to be decent. I think they'll probably be solid this year, but you may be surprised to know that my tune has changed on that game just a little bit. Going ahead and taking a look at the schedule, let's go ahead and preview all 12 games or predict all 12 games. Keeping in mind, over-unders at 9.5. Their odds to win the SEC are plus 280, best in the conference. National championship odds plus 600, best in college football. We go ahead and start with this game against Ohio State, and I am solely going on who I think the better quarterback will be and who I think will have less issues themselves. And part of this is there's a handful of differences, and we're going to preview this game later in the month, and I'm going to kind of say the same stuff later, but what I will say here is this. Ohio State's breaking in a new quarterback. Well, Texas is too. I know. But we've seen Arch Manning play, and we've seen his composure and his ability to bounce back from mistakes. We have not seen Julian Sayin have any time to do that, especially in a big game. Neither have we seen Leaky Keenholz, and we certainly haven't seen Tavian St. Clair do it because he's a true freshman. Do I expect Tavian St. Clair to play? No. Do I expect him to start? No. Do I expect Keenholz or Sayin? Do I know who it's going to be? Not a clue. That opens up the door for question marks going into the season. You look at Ohio State's defense, the whole defensive line is gone. Does that mean they're going to be bad? No. But the whole D-line's gone. They're returning a good amount of production, but it's a brand new system. Remember that Jim Knowles left. He went to Penn State. And now Ohio State has to figure out how they're going to work under Matt Patricia's system with 4 new defensive linemen on the line of scrimmage. It is going to be difficult for Ohio State to truly get themselves figured out and ready to go in that Week 1 game. I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm just saying it's unlikely that they will be as ready as Texas, who had quite a bit of continuity in their system. Also, it's just going to be interesting. They're also breaking a new offensive coordinator. Brian Hartline is going to call plays differently than Chip Kelly did. Remember, those reins are still handed over to the offensive coordinator. Ryan Day is not as hands-on with the offense. He's still going to help. He's still going to do what he can. But Brian Hartline's been around enough now that he's finally getting his opportunity. It's on him to make things happen. I just think this game, it's not going to be lights are too bright. It's going to be that Texas is just a better team, more experienced, and they're going to get the job done in this game. It's going to be a national championship affair. It is going to be a national championship level affair. You're just going to see Week 1 struggles and rust, I would say. That's not an indictment on Ohio State. I'll explain more about that when I preview Ohio State on Saturday. Make sure you stick around for that one. You move on from there, though. San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston. 3 wins. You're 4-0 when you go to the Swamp. This is a game where they can lose. I'm going to take them to win, though. I think Texas can walk into this game in Florida, in the Swamp, and lose. Will they? Is a question I have yet to answer. I'm not going to answer probably until the week of October 4th when I'm previewing this game, because it's certainly going to be on the slate of full previews. But this is certainly a game that questions will be answered, and questions will certainly arise. Just like they did in the Ohio State game, they're going to come here. The difference is I think they'll be a lot more experienced, a lot more comfortable with themselves and who they are from an identity perspective. They'll be able to take care of business. They'll move on to 5-0, and they're going to go ahead and move on to 6-0. I got them beating Oklahoma. Going to be a fun game, though. I'm excited, of course, for John Mateer, but I'm also really excited for Arch Manning, because by this point in the season, we're going to know exactly who Arch Manning is, and we're going to know exactly what his ceiling is, what this team's ceiling is with him at the helm. I think they're going to be able to rely a little more on their run game. This is going to be an affair of 2 really solid offenses that are going to be able to move the ball, and it's probably going to come down to the first team to make a stop, or maybe consecutive stops that really get this thing under control. It's going to be a fun game, but I'm taking Texas to be 6-0 at this point. They'll come out of that game against Oklahoma. I think they will beat Kentucky. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a game of discomfort for Texas fans. Don't look too hard into it. It's just, that's what happens when you play 2 emotional games in a row. You have to be up for back-to-back games. And then you got to go play Kentucky on the road in Kroger Field, which is not a easy place to go play, especially in recent years. They took Georgia to the wire. They've hung around with Texas last year. I don't think it was necessarily a close game. I'm not looking at the score at the moment, but the point remains that they can certainly put something together. Zach Calzada's got like 1 game a year where he can really step up. Could be this one. Who knows? But they'll be 7-0, I think. And I'm going to go 8-0, 9-0. They're going to be sitting pretty at 9-0 when they go to Athens, coming out of a bye week, as is Georgia coming out of a bye week. And I'm simply just taking the team that I think is going to be given the home field advantage. I think Georgia is going to be that good of a team, and I'm taking the Bulldogs to get the job done at home against this Texas team. I'll hand them their first loss. Like, undefeated, not very likely anymore in today's college football world. I'm certainly not predicting it here. I think that they'll fall to 9-1. They'll come out of that loss though, get some revenge in what is kind of a pseudo rivalry game. I don't know if people really consider this a rivalry. I do, just because of how much fun I know the Southwest Conference was and how much fun these two teams had playing each other. But it's going to be a fun one to watch. They'll move to 10-1, and then follow that up with a game against Texas A&M. That's supposed to be November 28th. That's a Friday game. Apologies. I got everything else right, but I forgot that is a Friday kick. Didn't really change my tune, though. I at one point, I picked A&M to win. As a matter of fact, in the A&M preview, I picked A&M to win this game. But I'm changing my tone. I'm taking Texas to win this one. This game being in Austin kind of turned my tune a little bit. On top of that, it's just I told you guys at the beginning, I've been waffling hard on Texas A&M on whether or not I think they're going to be good playoff contenders, or I think they're going to kind of come back down to earth, or stay down to earth as they were last year. And I just think that Texas is going to be that much better in November than A&M. So that's where I get that from. 11-1, 7-1, and we got some stuff to figure out when it comes to conference championship picks. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what my pick's going to be, but I know it's going to be a lot of fun to see who goes to Atlanta and who we take in that game. So let me know what you guys think. What did I miss out on? Who did I not mention on this Texas team that should be getting more attention, should be talked more about as a key player or somebody who can be a significant role player for this team? Love to hear that stuff down in the comments. We're building a really good community here at Armchair Analysis. And I just hope you guys will come along and be a part of it. We got college football content year-round here on this channel. And preview season's almost over to an extent. We will carry on preview season a little bit further, and it's more so of conference previews. We'll go through every single conference, talk about players that we expect to be good, coach of the year predictions, and even conference championship picks. We'll have all that coming up here in the coming weeks. We also have my favorite segment that I do every year is a college football road trip. If I had all the money in the world and could go to any game I want, what games would I want to go to throughout this 2025 college football season? We've had a lot of growth here on this channel, so a lot of you guys may not even know that this exists or what this is, but that's what it is. It's kind of similar to like Josh Pate does it in real life. What would I do if I had that opportunity? I think it's just a fun little exercise to kind of see what games we're paying attention to in this 2025 season. Of course, then we go to Heisman and college football playoff predictions, and at that point, we will also be doing week 0 predictions and previews for games, including Farmageddon out there in Ireland. We'll have some other interesting little topics and subjects as we lead up to that first Saturday of college football on August 23rd. So again, we're trying to hit 200 subscribers by August 23rd, by week 0. I think we can do it. You guys have been great with the support so far. I hope you guys will continue that, and I'm just thankful, really. This is a lot of fun for me. I do this out of hobby. I didn't really expect anybody to tune in, but the growth we've had over the last month and a half, 2 months of doing this preview season content has been incredible, and I'm super grateful for it because, again, it's not something I expected. I just did this for fun, just something I wanted to kind of do as a hobby, and it's growing at a rate that I didn't expect. So it's fun to do. I'm excited to continue, and I hope you guys will stick around for the journey because we're going to keep going and rolling forward. So later today, you'll see the Clemson Tigers preview. That preview's coming out simply because I missed an upload a couple days ago. So that one will come out at 8 p.m. tonight. Or actually, I'm going to do that one at 7 p.m. tonight. Then tomorrow we got Notre Dame, and against Saturday. No, tomorrow we have Oregon. And then Friday we have Notre Dame. And then Saturday we have Ohio State. So make sure you guys stick around. Make sure you all, again, like, subscribe, comment down below. And we'll see you guys tonight with the Clemson Tigers 2025 preview.